Match day poop?
Always.
Must
Yeah.
have.
We actually do it as a team.
Team poop.
I've
seen the video.
5 stalls, and then Zach's outside the bathroom. We all have mics on.
Oh,
Is that
ridiculous.
what Karrigan came into in-game lead? He's just like, all right, guys, everybody now. And like,
Everybody smoke.
What's up, guys? Welcome back to Q Up, Team Envy's official podcast, where we take you inside the world of esports with the people who know it best. I'm your host, Jay Hairston. I have my co-host, Mr.
Justin Rojas, VP of Content here at Team Envy.
A. And today we have two special guests, the handsome boys, Mr. Nifty and JDM. What's up, guys?
What's good? How
How's
you
it
doing?
going? Happy to be here.
So I got a poll running right now on Twitter. I just put it out. Who is the most handsome on Team Envy? And right now, Kang the cameraman is killing you guys. What's going on?
I mean, it makes sense. Look at the guy.
He's beautiful. He's a beautiful
Yeah.
specimen. You guys can't see him, but he's a beautiful.
We have a
beautiful
lovely
man.
treat we get to experience while we record all day. We
beautiful
look at him.
treat.
Yeah, absolutely. So if you guys see me giving seductive looks toward the camera, it's not you. It's
It's totally forget.
Man.
What's up, dudes? How's life?
really good.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Awesome.
We're happy to be here. It's a nice early morning. Feels like a good morning to talk.
Get the sleepies out. So for some of our guests who might not know who you guys are, give us your quick elevator pitch. Who are you guys?
So I'm Noah Nifty Francis, and I play for Envy's Counter-Strike team. Been here for about roughly 5 months, and let's say Envy's treating us very well.
All right.
I'm Josh, JDM Marzano, and same as Noah. And I'm the operator for the team. But yeah.
Right on, guys. So how this works is we usually bring a couple of topics to the table and just kind of have a roundtable chat about what's going on in the world of esports, gaming. We can talk about fashion. I want to talk about fashion with you guys. I think, Nifty, you got your Gucci flip-flops on right now?
I don't own Gucci flip-flops.
I seen the sweatshirt. I know they
That's
give you the flip-flops with the sweatshirt.
Nah,
OG told me that. We went to the Gucci store together.
The flip-flops are too much of a fad. Like, I don't know.
So you're too fashionable for the Gucci flip-flops.
Yeah.
is what
There you
you're
go.
saying. Spoiled, man. Somebody's doing well. Somebody's doing well, bro. So you brought a topic today?
Yeah. Actually, my topic pertains to sports psychology.
Okay.
All right.
Getting deep.
Yeah.
Deep in the morning.
No, yeah, I think it's really important because I think as we're essentially mental athletes, more so than the regular football player, basketball player. So it's like really kind of important for us as esports athletes to be able to always be on top of our mental game and handle like our emotions and be able to just control ourselves under all different circumstances. That way we can always compete at the highest level.
Right,
you
right.
know? So I feel like that's a really important topic to talk about.
Absolutely.
And, I think a lot of viewers would find it interesting, and maybe any other players or people from other teams that would watch this, like they might find the same kind of importance.
Specifically interesting to the fans who tend to be pretty raw and visceral when it comes to attacking certain players who may not be performing the best. I mean, like one game you're showing out and you're the New England Patriots. The next game you may have a bad game. One bad game and now you're the Cleveland Browns. And the hate is real. So you have to be in the right mental mind state to be able to handle that.
Yeah, and that's always a frustrating topic. Just because you will never really know why a player or a team as a whole is underperforming.
Mm-hmm.
There's so many things that go on,
So many factors.
inside the team, that just you can't understand from an outside perspective.
Mm-hmm.
Well, as an outsider, you definitely think you do.
Yeah, you
Right?
definitely think you do. I mean, you're
got pro
open. You're
analysts
open to
out
having
there, like,
speculation.
You know
right?
everything. Yeah.
Yeah, you're free to have speculation and opinions and all that stuff, but it's also kind of hard for us as players to convey, maybe why it is, but also we're not obligated to.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess it's really dependent on if we want to share it or not. But usually it's just better to keep it within the team.
Aches brought up a really good point. Aches from the Call of Duty team was on the show last week, and he talked about if I don't post that I'm upset after a match on Twitter, the fans don't think I'm upset. They don't think I care about the game, and that's kind of the world we live in now. So
Yeah, and that's kind of a crazy thing, honestly. Like,
It's hard to tweet. It's hard to do anything on social media if you aren't doing well or like your team's not doing well, because I feel like most of the time you're just gonna get like the doubters, the haters. They're just gonna swoop in and they're gonna say something. And
I mean,
like you don't like. I know it's like in that part, it's a mental game because you're not trying. Like you personally don't like take it seriously, but it's obviously not fun to look at all these tweets that are about you or about the team. You know.
So do you read those things when after a bad game? Are
To
you
be honest with you, I
looking
don't
through the
tweet
comments?
after a bad game.
Stay off of social media.
I actually talked to him about this because I used to do that. I'd tweet like after every game, like normally. But Noah brought up to me one time saying like, I don't tweet after like if we lose or something like that. Because like I said, most of the time I feel like that's when those doubters do want to say something, and as a player, you just want to stay mentally in it and mentally strong the whole time because maybe you have another game or match after that in like 2 hours or something, or the next day you want to reset, So I kind of just don't look at social media.
So what is your regimen? If you're not on social media, what is your kind of go-to activities after like a tough loss?
I mean, it always comes down to probably re-looking over the match, I would give it some time. I like to do, it really depends on the person and the team, but I kind of like to, when everything's so fresh in mind, I want to go over the demo like right away. I want to go look at it. But for me personally, to try to reset is probably like, exercise or workout. So then, the frustration just kind of leaves you and then you're able to talk about it more with like the team or whatever in a more like calm manner. So.
Yeah, at least in Counter-Strike, it's the most common thing to do is obviously you want to take like a little bit of time to just kind of relax so that but you don't want to wait too long because you want all of those thoughts that you had throughout the game of things that you maybe want to fix or talk about with some of your teammates. Maybe there were some mistakes or poorly played rounds that you want to talk about. So you still want it to be fresh, but so you don't want to wait too long. But it is super important, at least in Counter-Strike, to review the demos, for yourself and like with your team, because you can find things and you can tweak them and fix them instantly. So it's something really important that everyone should be doing if they're playing Counter-Strike professionally. So
right on, guys, right on.
Definitely. I mean, social media has changed kind of the whole game in regards to any form of entertainment, sports, performance, right? So you can't just play and perform and then drop off the face of the earth until the next one. Social media makes it to where, as a fan, you expect now this in-between stage of conversation with the players, with the organization, with the analysts and everything, and it's very hard to be able to turn off in between matches so you can refocus. I mean, we see it in all of our teams, really, and as our jobs, Jay and I have to work in social media for the company, so it's even hard for us to read comments, and we're not even the ones that played, right?
Yeah. But you're still supporting them.
Yeah. And I think Mike Rafael Hastro said it on our last episode where, as a fan, if you're upset about our performance, definitely know that we are even more upset than you are.
Yeah, like that's what it comes down to. Like if we lose, it's not like I'm happy, or like whatever. Like I'm obviously going to be like the most frustrated one. Well, our whole team's going to be the most frustrated one. So like we don't need anything really to add on to that. Like I already know him like mentally that I hate losing. We're competitors, This is why we play, and this is why we're at our levels because we're competitors. So like there's nothing I like about losing, So
Not fun times. So some of the fans kind of like to play what I call CEO tycoon with the team of their choice. So they're really like they're seeking information immediately after a loss, especially trying to figure out what's going wrong in the organization, get inside your guys' heads so they can almost like make these fantasy type moves, like they're playing fantasy football, but with your team. And like, okay, well, if we just pull this guy and bring this guy in, everything's going to be okay and we're going to start winning. Like that is like the mentality of some of the fans, and they just don't understand it doesn't work like that. And there's things that have to be developed that take time. And like you said, you've only been here, 4 or 5 months? Yeah. Some of these things take time to build.
Yeah. Yeah, the way I see it is like there are a few phases to building a team that can contend for championships. And it's like phase 1 usually goes 5 or 6 months, I think, and then that's when you need to start adjusting yourselves. So we're like at about that point where we can cross a line to become a better team.
So what does the next 6 months look like in your guys' world, ideally? What do you think is like the moves? You don't have to get into detail. I know that's confidential.
No, I won't go into detail. I'll stay competition related, but I think a goal would be come the minor, because actually the minor dates and stuff like that were just released for the Starletter major, and I would say approaching July we would want to be competing at least 2 or 3 events prior to that, and shooting for at least 1 playoff stage.
Okay.
That way we can just get more LAN experience as a team, but also maybe if we can make it to the stage 1 time at an event, that'd be huge for us, you know, just because building that chemistry together as a team is super important in that environment, you know, and that environment is a whole different, you know, it activates some players and it deactivates some players. So, you know, it takes time. So
Josh, what about you, man?
I mean, pretty much what he said. Like, you know, the main goal is like you always look at the majors. You know, they're the biggest tournaments for our scene, or most like prestigious. But it's getting that experience and being ready for that environment and that tournament. So like, yeah, qualifying for other tournaments, or being at tournaments beforehand. Because, like you said, it deactivates and activates certain players. Well, the more times that you get to experience that kind of environment and atmosphere, like the better, the more comfortable you are, the more it actually activates you over time. So, for the ones that are not like experienced or as experienced, it's just that's a good like training, you know, going up to the big events. So
that brings up a good question between the two of you. You guys are obviously different people, different ages, and different levels of experience in Counter-Strike. How is that impacting you guys? I mean, Nifty, what you just
turned big 21.
Yeah, 21.
Yeah, just turned 21.
But you've been, you know, obviously been playing the game for a while, but you're newer to comparatively to Josh in some of those instances. So, kind of give me your pros and cons of being either a seasoned veteran in this industry right now versus kind of a newer up and coming riser for the Counter-Strike scene specifically.
Well, I wouldn't consider myself a seasoned veteran. I would say I'm somewhere in between. You know, I'm not new, but I've had a lot of experiences, especially as a young player, that I feel like are not too common. My time on Renegades, for example, was very unique because I was 19 when I started in-game leading for the team and opping, which is like nobody does that.
Yeah.
You know, so I kind of had expected that I was going to face a lot of challenges that, you know, not many players would, and I think I actually had a very supportive following on that topic. You know, a lot of like the fans and the supporters were very helpful towards me in understanding like if I had an off performance here, you know, or if our team had an off performance here. But it was nonetheless interesting, and I learned like so much from it. You know, I think I was able to attain knowledge that I wouldn't have if I was just like a player that maybe got slotted into a system, because I think there's something unique about kind of being self-taught in a way, because it's like there's 2 ways that you go when you join a Counter-Strike team, or you start playing professionally. You're either slotted into a system with players better than you, and you kind of learn from them and you're mentored, while trying to figure out your own play style and how you want to do it. Or, you know, you're kind of self-taught and you kind of like lead yourself through the system. Granted, there's pros and cons to that as well, but I think there's something unique about it, and it always gives you a different perspective compared to like most players. So for that, like, I'm appreciative, you know, although it was a very up and down time, you know. So that was really my first like big team, and even before that I had experienced like crazy things in like Selfless as my like first professional team, but it didn't really feel like super real at that time. But I think I'm just really happy to have had that experience. You know, a lot of traveling, a lot of tournaments. We went to like mid-tier tournaments. We went to high-tier tournaments. So I kind of got to experience it all. But obviously, I want more of like the big stages, you know, the 10,000 people crowd, you know, I want more of that.
Talk to us about your most recent minor experience in Katowice. Is that how you say it? Katowice.
Dude, I still don't know how you say it. Like
Katowice.
I don't know. It's like Katowice, you know?
Katowice.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah, do it up.
well, it's like, it's a frustrating topic because we didn't get to where we wanted to.
Right.
I still don't even like talking about it too much, but like, you know, like it wasn't in front of anyone either. So that's like, and he said, man, like stages really get me hyped. I love playing in front of people. I think it like actually activates me more as a player. Cause, and we joke about this all the time, just like when you know, take a shot and you kill someone in game and you just hear the crowd going, oh, you know, like that, like you're looking for like maybe another one right after that. Cause if they keep saying, oh, it
It's
just
like
becomes
fuel
this
to the
like,
fire.
Right.
Yeah. And your adrenaline's just pumping. But like at the minor, I mean, we're just, you know, there's no one be like in front of us. It's just, you know, us, whatever. So it's just like group stages at like any other tournament. But, you know, like I said, it was kind of disappointing. It was disappointing at the minor, just because I think we had such higher expectations. And like for me, at least, for any minor qualification or any qualifier, like I feel like that was probably the easiest one out of all of them that I've ever been to. And we had like 2 chances, so that's what's like most, I guess, frustrating about that. But it's a good learning experience for everyone. You know, like when you fail, you use that to just, that's what makes you succeed, is failing. And, you know, if you keep failing, and people will be like, maybe that doesn't help you succeed. But no, man, like you learn every single time you fail. And, you know, that's all I can take from it. You know, you got to be optimistic about it. So
with Counter-Strike being a game that's been around for a very long time, especially for esports, where it's still all pretty new. I mean, being able to, like you said, you go through these events and you learn a lot from each of these things. But are there a lot of newer players, since this game is so old? There are people that have been playing it for a really long time. Is there an advantage to being a younger player at all in this scene?
Dude, honestly, I don't really think so. I personally think it comes down to work ethic. Like at that point, like as you get older, maybe your motivation or the reason why you play, like, you know, starts fading. But that's all like depends on the person. Like for me, like I'm 28, so I'm older than most of the people or most of the players. But I've only I started playing professionally like 3-4 years ago. I feel like I haven't even I feel like a young player, you know, like I'm still learning constantly. And I know that like I'm still motivated, and you know, I work so hard at, during practice and everything, work on my individual skill afterwards. My drive is always there. So I really think it depends on the player. Because once you start losing that work ethic and you don't put in as much time as you used to, then, you know, the players that are coming in, the young players, I feel like they're more, they're hungry. They want to make a name for themselves. They want to show the world what they have. When you've already been through that, like for certain players, maybe that, I guess, isn't their reasoning of still playing, or they lose that kind of desire. I think that's the only advantage that maybe young players have. I mean, they got fast reactions, but, you know, sometimes people don't lose that, you know, they still have fast reactions over time.
Yeah, you can be 30, 31 and still fragging.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like a Forrest, right?
Yeah.
I will add a perspective, because I do believe that there is a strong advantage that some younger players carry, most actually, and this most of them won't even notice it, because they're young and everything's fresh to them and they're just enjoying themselves. But maybe this will resonate with some. I think something that they don't carry that maybe more experienced players will, say they've gone through losses, you know, tournament upsets, you know, they've failures left and right, or so to speak, failures, right? Younger players won't carry that. they'll be playing the game in a more carefree way, whereas older players will have like baggage necessarily, and it's like they will, whenever they're in a tournament or in a game, they will just naturally think back to all the other times that they have been in this scenario and maybe failed, and it will affect like their mindset. It'll affect how they play, things like that. And that's something that a younger player won't carry. He'll just get in the server and he'll go around and he'll do what's fun for him. You know what I mean?
So are you at your best when you're smiling and having a good
No,
time?
absolutely. Yeah. When you're carefree and like confident and just, just enjoying the game, you're playing your best, 100%.
Yeah. It's like, this game is so mental.
Yeah.
It's such a mental game. And that's like what we were talking about, sports psychologists, like the importance behind it of working with one is it can do wonders for you.
So that's a good question. I mean, are you guys working with anybody specific, and how often do you have to do that to kind of keep your game up?
Yeah, so in Renegades, I worked with one for nearly over a year. And it was a good experience. I would say I've actually taken the steps just recently to on my own to work with one who's actually part of a group. Because in Renegades, he was kind of like a solo, like one-man army thing. He had like a lot going on. He was a super smart guy. Learned a lot from him. But like if you don't have like, if you're not in a system, maybe, like the guys that I'm working with now, they have like a website, they have, an app, you'll like talk with them often in person or, FaceTime or something, and they'll give you more specific steps as to how to go about something, as to where like maybe in a situation kind of like we had in Renegades, because he was just a one-man solo kind of thing and didn't have a lot of assets and resources to pull from, he could only do so much and give you like suggestions, but not actually what the steps are to putting that into place. Whereas now, like, I'm super optimistic about working with this and doing this program that I'm in, because it's like there's always more to know. Like the whole goal is to just be in the zone, as often as you can be. And all of that is mental, because most players that are playing Counter-Strike at high level have the skill. They have the abilities to do it. You don't need to like overtrain yourself. You know what I mean? You just need to be in the right mental state in order to compete. So that's like something I'm super optimistic about working with in this program that I'm doing right now. So yeah.
That's cool.
Talk to us about Karrigan and his leadership role when it came to the minors.
Well, I mean, just to start it off, he's a great player, great leader. You can see it once he came and standed in for us, like right away, you just knew like this guy is something special. And he's been playing, on a top tier team, like his whole career, I feel like. So like when you know that too, like it's just like at that point, you can learn so much from him. So you try to just be a sponge and soak everything in. But it was fun. Like I learned a lot during the process. We went and boot camped in London for a week before the minor. And just in a short period of time, just like 1 week it was, of having him. Like, and he's the IGL, so there was a lot of things that we had to like rework and just kind of go over. And he, certain things that he wanted to implement, but like, you could see so much improvement in just that 1 week that we had. And unfortunately, like I feel like it didn't really, in the beginning it showed, I think, like the first couple of days at the minor, I think we played really well, but I don't think the minor showed like
it didn't
justice.
showcase it.
Yeah, like
the work
boot
that was
camp,
put in.
like when we were like towards the end of the week, like it's hard because I don't think I saw too much improvement over the last 5 months. I saw a little bit of improvement with our team, but we were like playing with a stand-in, playing with the coach, so going back and forth. We don't know who the fifth is going to be. So it was kind of like a hard period to improve. But like, at the end of the boot camp, just from that 1 week, you could tell there was a difference and like see in those practices the improvements that we've made. So just I can only imagine like with a longer amount of time with him and like working together as a team, how much more you can actually improve.
And he seems such like a level-headed guy. I've only had a few conversations with him, but does he ever get loud? Like, I feel like it's impossible to get that guy to go from like a 5 to a 10.
He can get hyped.
He can get rowdy?
Yeah, he can get hyped.
Yeah, he can raise some octaves. Yeah.
Yeah, he doesn't like. That's the cool thing about from what I noticed is that he's a pretty positive guy. So like, you don't really hear anything that would be toxic or anything like that. Like, he's always thinking about the next round or that kind of mental state. But like, if he gets ever like loud or hyped, he's trying to like get us going. You know?
One thing that's great about Karrigan, because there are honestly not a lot of players like this. He's a player that always tries to look for the positive in like every situation. Like it's like, okay, well, here's what happened. Even if somebody starts rambling about something negative or like maybe why it happened or whatever, he's like, I don't give a shit about that. You know what I mean?
He
like,
brushes it off.
Yeah. Like here's what we can do. You know what I mean? Here's a solution. So I think that's like a really good trait to have. And it's like, I never set any expectations for people, but it's funny because you would look at his status within the Counter-Strike scene and you would expect something like that, especially with his experience playing for Astralis for a couple of years, playing with FaZe for a couple of years, dealing with the players that he dealt with, to be able to like carry things like that. And he does, like that was the coolest
And not have
part.
that arrogance attached
Yeah,
to it.
no,
Like, I've been here like, hey, Junior, like pipe down. I know what I'm talking about.
Not at all. He's entirely for the fun of the game and just learning, and making something work. Like he loves making things work,
So obviously in these big games, strategy and, people can have a difference of opinion in strategy and, what the best tactic is moving forward. Can you kind of talk to us about how those things were handled and managed?
Actually, Karrigan was really good at creating tactics.
Yeah,
he's a
so
real
just like follow the leader.
He's
a real strategist.
You got to think about this too. He's been in so many scenarios, man.
Yeah.
Like so many tournaments and scenarios of something like being thrown at him, and he's like, okay, when this happens, I know this works.
Yeah.
He always has like a plan after something else.
It's like
happens.
there's almost like I almost picture like a tree diagram when he's explaining something. It's like, here's what it is, and here's what's going to happen if this happens. Here's what's going to happen if this happens. Here's why it happens. You know what I mean? And like, you kind of get the full understanding.
Is it ridiculous to see it play out before your eyes? Like when he says it, and then to see it happen in the game, you're like, wow, that's what.
Yeah, and that's what I think he loves about it.
Yeah.
Because like when he creates the tactic, and he's like, oh, this. Like you see him like doing his thing. Like he's just by himself on the computer, and he's like, it's like Einstein, just like, you know what I mean? Everything like scrolling down.
He's not on Reddit. Like he's actually like,
no,
he's in the lab.
And he's in the lab, exactly. He's like creating stuff. He's like, oh, this would be really good. You know what I mean? Throwing flashes and finding crazy smokes and stuff. But yeah, then when he comes to show it to the team and everything like that, like
God, we need to make that flow chart of scenarios and like visually represent it. Like if Flashbang gets thrown at choke A, then these scenarios come into play, and then
that's literally him.
That's how his brain works.
I think pure strategist. I don't think there are many in-game leaders that are like that. And me having been an in-game leader for 2 years, I was like, wow, giving me like all kinds of different perspectives and ideas and just ways of doing things. So
he's really fun just in general to work with too. Like, like after practice, we'll be in this server just trying to think of stuff, theory craft we call it, and like it's just fun working with him during that time because shit, we'll end up. Or am I able to cuss here? My bad. But like, we'll find this like smoke that is just unreal. It's like no one's seen it before, and it's like a one way or something like that, and be like, oh yeah, we could use this every single time we do this, and all that. Like, dude, we go over and talk about it and be like, no one's gonna be able to beat us with this smoke, like, but we never got to show those smokes, whatever, because they're on different maps. But it's just fun because he always has that energy whenever, like, even in the theory craft, just working with him and finding these little plays and little scenarios, like, we both were having fun doing that, and it's, for me, man, I don't think I've been able to do that as much in my career. Like, people don't really want to theory craft as much. But it's just fun to do that when you have someone next to you that has the same amount of energy as you, and like the same goals and everything, and that's what you do.
Keeps the game fresh.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's beautiful. He'll talk about Counter-Strike at any time.
We got to get Karrigan on here.
That's amazing that, again, I go back to this a lot, that this game has not changed very much in a long time comparatively to any other game, really. But you can still create these new strats, these new theories, these new approaches to the scenarios, even though it's basically the same game that's been played for like years, and that's still being fresh and new, and that shows how like in depth and that you guys work on to make these things happen.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
Yeah, absolutely, super deep, man. Especially when it comes to tactics or understanding why you're doing something.
Yeah.
You know,
I think on our pilot episode that may or may not ever be heard by the public, but we were talking about how do you keep an old game like Counter-Strike fresh? Like what innovations can you have? Like it's pretty much been perfected as far as like balancing the game. But we were talking about crazy stuff like an Apache helicopter like dropping into the dust map and like separating half the map with fire. And you know, obviously there would be balancing and stuff. But is that like something you guys would enjoy seeing, or you're like, nah, like you keep
I don't
all
know
the
about
power
that.
ups and all that stuff like out of the game?
I do think one thing they need to do is they need to create more maps. Like it's just the same maps over and over and over and over. And you know, sometimes it just gets boring. You just want something new. That's how I feel, at least. Like Counter-Strike is just Counter-Strike, man. Like I don't know how to explain it. It's just like you love the game no matter what. And I think what drives us, what drives me, is I would love to continue playing in front of people, big stages and all that stuff. So that's what drives me. You know, like no matter what, if they don't add any maps, they don't add anything. They've been doing a lot, I guess, with updates recently, so that's been pretty cool. But you're always gonna love Counter-Strike, man.
Yeah, Counter-Strike has a very loyal following.
Yeah.
You know, being out for 20 years and all. Like,
Why do you think that is? Why do you think it's stood the test of
It's the
time?
best game. It's the best game.
Is it?
It is the best FPS, yes.
So we
but-
talk about all these new games that are coming out. You got Overwatch, you got Apex, you got all these things with the bells and whistles. Do you think Counter-Strike is like the best showcase of like just raw technical skill? There's no power-ups, there's no ultimates to be charged. It's nothing like that. It's a team, it's raw skill, and it's coordination with your team. Do you think that's what fans enjoy about Counter-Strike, or is it something that I'm missing?
Yeah, I think it has a lot to do with that. I think something that's super important to the fans is like, you know, just, I mean, they actually love the raw skill from players like Nico, you know, Simple, Device, you know, just seeing like all of these players always consistently be able to hit insane shots or get highlight reels. You know, everybody loves highlight reels,
Right.
you know. But I think it's just something that resonates like deep down, you know, with Counter-Strike, because most of the people that have played Counter-Strike and are playing now, at some point, even if they didn't play all the way through from like 1.6 or something, like they played it for a period of time here and there in their lives, like when they were younger most of the time, you know. So for a little while 1.6 or a little while Source, you know, and then they came back to CSGO when they saw that the majors were doing so well, right, and the game was growing. So I think it's just seeing like the fact that it's still growing, you know, and like actually this major going on right now is going to be the best major of all time.
Yeah, it's
you
already
know?
like past its what was it? Just the qualifier, the major qualifier, right?
Yeah.
It like already passed like the peak viewership or whatever that they
Yeah.
already had. So
Okay.
yeah, so I mean it's, and the stuff that they're releasing, like everything, like the free to play now,
Yeah.
that's
That's
helped
huge.
it, I think, like crazy. That helps it with the viewership. Yeah, it's just growing, I feel like, still.
So that's a good segue to my topic, which is motivation and what keeps you playing this game versus, you know, jumping ship to some of these new games. Do you guys ever feel like you're missing out on like the new games, Apex Legends that comes to mind? I played it this weekend. It was a lot of fun. Do you ever feel like, dang, I could really like jump out of this and probably move over to here and immediately be like in the top 5% of players and then, you know, hone your skills from there and compete? Do you ever feel like you're missing out?
Not so much. I mean, at least for me, like I know that I could play different games, you know, and I could be really, really good at them. But I enjoy Counter-Strike too much.
Yeah.
You know, I really do. I mean, when I first switched over from like Call of Duty, it was never intentional to go pro in Counter-Strike. Like it was like, I was just like playing CS casually, and I was just like, oh, fuck, I love this, you know, like I'm gonna keep playing Counter-Strike. So it kind of just like fell that way for me. But I also feel like for me, I have something far more to offer, at least the Counter-Strike scene, before I do anything else. And I haven't come anywhere near my goals for Counter-Strike. So, those are like the primary things for me.
So you'll be here a while.
I got a question for you.
Yeah, I do plan to be here for a while.
So, okay, if you had to choose, which game would you pick? Call of Duty or CS?
Oh, CS, yeah.
CS? Okay, all right. I was going to say, we can't be teammates.
I mean, I still support Call of Duty. You know, I mean, I watch some of the games and I keep up with like some of the teams, but just because it's kind of like my roots. You know, like I played Call of Duty since I was 10 or 11, you know, and I would play GBs. That's so funny. Oh my God. Back in the day, I would play like 1v1 tournaments, win like $75.
Hey.
I'd be 12 years old. I'd be like, Mom, we got to go fax this check. literally like that's how long ago I get like $75.
That's awesome.
But yeah, man, I love Call of Duty. You know, like always be a fan of Call of Duty. But yeah,
Josh, you gonna jump ship? Come on over to Overwatch League, man. We'll put you on Widowmaker.
No, but like to go back to your subject or your topic, I've actually thought about it a couple times. So there was a period where I got benched from Liquid, and I didn't know what I was gonna do, and like Fortnite at that time was like starting to like blow. So I was thinking, you know, maybe I could make a switch. It's hard to, you can't leave CS. I don't know, it's hard. I like would play a couple of days of Fortnite, and I'm like, I'm going back to CS, you know. I could see myself doing something like that, but I think I'm just gonna stick with CS for the long run, for as long as I can. And I don't know, you do see like the Apex Legends and all that stuff, you'd be like, okay, maybe I could try it out, but I personally, when I'm on a team and everything, I don't like, and just in general too, I don't really play too many different games or anything like that. It's really rare for me to play a different game, especially when I'm on a team, because I feel like you should only be spending your time with CS.
I feel like you're cheating on the game.
Yeah, well, yeah, in a sense, yeah.
But it can affect your fundamentals as well, correct?
Sometimes, yeah.
Apex,
like it'd be, I mean, different games are gonna have different feels, but I think you're able to, you know, kind of, you know, transfer over your sensitivity and everything to make it the same. But still, it's like, okay, well, you know, if I'm putting in like 3 hours after all my practice and everything and playing Fortnite, I could be spending that 3 hours on something with our team, you know?
Right.
Yeah.
That's how I always look at it.
There are a lot of players, like CS players, that play other games. You know, I think it just is totally dependent upon the person.
Yeah.
You know, because even some of the best players in CS, you know, play maybe it's actually probably between 6 to 8 quality hours of Counter-Strike, and then they go do other stuff, you know, or play other games.
Well, like good example is like my former teammate Lige. So he would like before like one of these tournaments that we went to, he would warm up playing Overwatch. And he was like, dude, he would keep telling me, like, this is how you warm up, you know? And I'm like, yeah, okay. Next thing you know, he gets in the server and drops like 30, 40. So then I'm like, okay, maybe I should.
You're
like,
a Widowmaker legend in the making.
Yeah.
I don't think it was the warm-up. I think it was the excitement that Overwatch gave him mentally.
It could be, yeah.
That's
Put
what I
him
think
in
it
a
was
good
for
mental
him.
state,
Yeah,
yeah.
too. Again, it's back to that mental health thing and just keeping on top of your game, keeping excited. And you said that events, being in front of a crowd makes you excited, right? So what are some of your favorite events and places to travel?
Well, okay, so I would separate that because like Mykonos, Greece was like my all-time favorite place I've ever been to. That was for a tournament, but there was no like stage or crowd, you know? But that was like unbelievable. Cologne and New York, man, those were like insane. Cologne, when I first joined Liquid, you know, we had Simple on our team too. We were just climbing through the made out group stage, climbed through like the playoffs, and just like the quarters, semis, and the finals, like all three, it felt like we had the crowd, you know, behind us pretty much. And they're just cheering for us left and right, you know. And like I said, there's nothing better than just a crowd just cheering you on, man. And like every time you hit a shot, they're just screaming. Yeah. Like that. Oh man, it gives me goosebumps even thinking about it.
Yeah.
But like New York was really good too, because it was like, you know, here in NA, and we made to the finals too throughout that. And, you know, having the crowd on your side the whole time too is just, like I said, there's nothing better than that.
So that is a good question. As a viewer at these events, you don't know how much the people on stage can actually hear you, because you guys have, you know, noise canceling headsets and all that stuff on stage. But like, you can hear us, right, when we're out there.
You hear them when they're all screaming together.
Okay.
You know, so like.
We can't hear the one guy heckling.
Yeah,
like
no, but that's why it's exciting.
Going A.
You know, if you're hearing them, then you know it's like, okay, you know, it's cool, right? Like something crazy is happening, right? So, yeah.
How does it feel when the other team's popping off and like you get the rush of the crowd? Is that something that like, because obviously you're hearing that
when that happens, that's when you need to be talking.
Yeah.
You and your team need to be talking, okay? So that you're not, because if you're all silent,
Yeah, if it's dead silent.
yeah, if it's dead silent and you're listening to the crowd and you're listening to them celebrate the round win or something, you know, you're like, you're gonna lose probably. You know, so you need to be like devising a plan, because also if that just happens, it just shows that everyone's like in the zone, right? Everyone's focused on the right thing. You know, is like not what the crowd is doing, not what the other team is doing, but what's gonna happen this round.
Yeah, kind of makes you forget about the last round.
Yeah.
If you're able to keep talking and stuff like that. So
Noah, favorite event?
Cologne, same as him. I think it's a fantastic event. And they put us in like a 5-star hotel, right? And the cathedral's like right across the bridge, and it's like really nice. But I think Australia and Sydney in general, incredible.
What makes a perfect venue besides, you know, the roar of the crowd, having like a huge audience in front of you?
Honestly, like, I don't think it's just like any venue could be really good, even if you have like a lot of numbers there. I think
it's the type of crowd for me.
The type of the crowd. Okay, so the fans have to be like very interactive. You know, fans that are good at that are like Australians, Brazilians, Polish fans. But like, I like the Coliseum kind of like arena. You
Almost
know,
like a soccer vibe.
It feels very just, you know, like this is it, right? Like
Right, as you look out and you just see people
exactly like slowly going up the levels in the arena. Yeah, and that's how it was for me at Sydney. Like when I got on the stage to prepare for my match, like I would just like, you know, like peek around my monitor and be like super excited because I just saw these like levels of people going up, and I was like, yes, you know, like this is why I play. You know what I mean? So, but yeah, I just that environment and vibe is like, there's nothing better.
So how important is chemistry when you guys are at these events?
I think it's important to treat all events the same, because if you do that, then there's never anything that's going to feel different to you. You know, like there's nothing that will add extra pressure. You know, it's like one thing that we were bad at in Renegades is like, you know, we would go to a Star Ladder event, you know, and we'd be happy to be there, you know, excited, obviously, like giving it our best. We practiced for it, everything, you know, and then it would come to like the majors and we would treat them differently. Sometimes we'd practice more, but it just felt like the pressure was always there. Like when we got to the major, you know, like, all right, it's Swiss system group stage, you know what I mean? Like, it's the major, you know what I mean? Like, we got to make it through, because now it's like our second time, third time, you know, whatever it is.
So is the team doing like everything together? Are you traveling together?
Yes,
are you sitting down to meals together? Like going to the games
most
together?
of the time. I mean, I think if it's very important for some individuals to do their own thing at certain times, you should absolutely let them. You know, nobody should be forced to like come out and do anything, but like team dinners, and obviously traveling together are like important. You know, you need to do stuff like that, and there needs to be time that you guys are talking, like about CS together, but also time that you're having fun. You know, even if you're still in the event, you still need to be enjoying yourselves. It's like vital.
So when I travel with teams, whether it's for work or whatever, just groups of friends, my biggest thing is eating and food. I love food. Is there anyone on the team that's like a super picky eater who you have to always be conscious about?
I feel like I would probably be. I feel like I would be the most picky one, but you know, it's like I can't eat seafood. That's the only thing.
I don't eat
and I
sushi.
just don't like. I don't like fast food. So that's like a hard one because like wherever you go and you travel, you don't know where anything is. Sometimes that's all you can get is fast food. So that's, traveling, man, sometimes it's just hard.
That's definitely a con to internationally traveling to events is like a lot of times you might not even find the time to go to a restaurant and get food. So, you'll be stuck with the options like McDonald's or just some sort of, fast food that they have around. And it's really tough because like he said, like you might not have somebody that is interested in that, right? Because maybe it makes them feel awful or, whatever it is, right?
Yeah.
Does it taste better out of the country though?
In some places,
dude,
actually, McDonald's in the Ukraine is insane.
Amazing.
It's fire.
Yeah,
It's definitely different. Like fast food in general is different in different countries because of the way they prepare the food, because of the oils they use. I was in the Philippines not too long ago, and everything there is fried in like palm oil, which I absolutely like started hating after a while.
But even like the food regulations, like
Yeah.
tend to be like higher in certain places. I heard Canada's a place where it's like no GMOs or something like that.
yeah, it's funny.
I don't know food.
McDonald's in a certain place that I never would expect. Like, oh, it's way better than the U.S. Ukraine. The Ukraine just has really good McDonald's for some reason. Like,
Gotta get that Jack in the Box
Shout
in
out
Ukraine.
to
That's what we need to
Ukraine
do.
McDonald's.
That's what we need to do. Get that Jack in the Box in the Ukraine. I don't even know if that'd be weird if it exists. But so CS, that's one thing that's really particular about CS versus a lot of these other esports, especially ones that we work on. You guys have the most international travel. Like you guys get to go all over the place compared to almost anything else.
That is probably super dope about our scene, but I'm telling you, man, sometimes it's like a huge con. Like for me, like I don't think I'd be traveling anywhere or just have the chance and opportunity to travel out of the country if I didn't play CS. Like that's like a blessing for sure. I feel like I'm privileged to do that because of CS. But man, like when you are going from, Texas to Poland and then back to Texas and then maybe going back to Poland like 2 weeks later, like the time change of like, resetting is just like, like you're just going from jet lag to like having to recover from sleep because you haven't been able to sleep that well. You don't even know what time it is. I mean, I still don't know what day it is.
I just pictured JDM in the club, like in Australia, looking at his phone, like, wait, the club doesn't close for another 2 hours. What's going on? Why is everybody leaving?
That's probably, that's exactly how it is. Like, it's just you don't know what time, what day it is. That's as a CS player, man, like, I don't even know what day it is anymore. Like, I couldn't tell you if it was a Friday, Tuesday, or whatever. It's so weird to like have that feeling too. But yeah, traveling, like you get to just going over to all these different countries and seeing different cultures. Like it's amazing. But it's just like sometimes you're going like for Liquid. When I was on Liquid, we were traveling like every other week at one point, spending like I think a month and a half in Europe. Like that can be huge toll on your body and like mind too, because maybe you don't like I'm huge into exercise and everything too. So like it's harder for me to try to do that because I don't know the area or don't know like if there's a gym nearby or anything like that. Maybe I don't have that. So it can be more difficult like traveling that way. But like I said, there's a lot of pros to it, but there's also people don't realize the cons to it as well. Yeah.
Do you think traveling would be a lot easier if it was business class every flight?
Yes.
Yeah. You get some extra leg room?
That needs to be a necessity at some point.
It does.
Is this a hash or you got to point at the camera?
All TOs need to business flights.
Yeah.
But it's funny because I think I mean, expenses for TOs are already like quite high.
Yeah.
I'm sure one of the arguments would be like, but players get paid so much money, so they could just upgrade themselves. You know what I mean?
And you're like, nah.
But like, I don't know, man. You got to remember, like, I don't know, we're athletes, bro. Treat us like athletes.
Historically, do you guys play better during the day or at night?
I think it depends on the person.
Do you know what time it is?
I like afternoon.
Do you know?
I don't even know what time it is.
I like competing in the afternoon. You know, like a 1-2 o'clock. Especially if I know it's like a sunny day outside. It's nice.
You're thinking about that in the dark, like a arena with the stadium light. You're thinking about there's birds chirping out there.
Yeah, it's just
Somebody's
knowing
walking
it's
their
like a
dog.
nice day, you know.
I don't.
Great day for Counter-Strike.
Yeah.
It's that's an interesting like question though, because I like playing in the morning, but I'm not a morning person. Which, this is kind of weird, but like I feel like you go into a tournament, and if you have a morning game, early morning game, like it's like, okay, I can take advantage of this scenario. Like, these players are probably not sitting up in the morning either. So, like, I need to just make sure I wake up and come with energy, because these guys are probably just still wiping their eyes, you know? Like, so, and when you get done, you still have the rest of the day to, like, you know, reset or whatever. So if you, like, play at night or something and you're at an event, sometimes you don't have that luxury. It's just going to bed, and you have to, my mind is just racing, you know, when I'm trying to sleep, because I'm thinking about all these scenarios in this match.
And if you took a loss, like, you're having to sleep on that or not.
Exactly.
Sleep on that.
Yeah. So then you're just constantly thinking about the mistakes that were happening, or that's how I look, you know, I'm thinking about it. And it's a lot harder to sleep that way, versus like, okay, we get done with the match, say we lost in the morning, I can like go work out, I can go rewatch the demo, and then still have time to kind of just reset for the next day. What's a traditional morning look like for a professional gamer? What do you do when you wake up?
Like for tournament or for at home?
Let's say morning of. It's game day. You're waking up and you're wiping the sleepies out of your eyes, and then you blank.
Well, you're waking up, you're showering, you know, brushing your teeth, getting dressed, right? And then you normally want to eat like at least 2 hours before you play. So for me, it's a little bit difficult because in the morning I don't eat so much. You know, like it's really hard for me to put like food down, which is why I like protein shakes or like protein smoothies or something. Like it's way easier. But, you know, you don't have that luxury when you're traveling most of the time. So, you know, you want to obviously go down to hotel breakfast, right, and try to get something in quick. Because usually you're getting like shuttled to the venue or wherever the venue is, roughly an hour and a half before you play. And you're setting up, you're warming up, and then you get ready to play the match.
That sounds way too normal, man. Let's be real. You're on Tinder. You're swiping right a couple times.
Getting your finger reaction ready, you know.
Not on game day.
Popping off on Twitter.
For me, I think, well, depending on how early the match is, I try to get a quick pump out. You know, like I'll go to the gym or whatever they have at the hotel, and I'll try to like run a couple miles and maybe just get the blood flowing and get my mind like, you know, starting to think. Because I feel like if you just like sometimes say you didn't get enough sleep or whatever and you just go into a match, like you're still kind of just tired and not like fully there. But if I get like my body going, like for me, like exercise, like I feel like I'm mentally like ready when I get into a game. So
yeah, that's good.
Match day poop?
Always.
Must
Yes.
have.
We actually do it as a team.
Team poop. I've seen the
5
video.
stalls, and then Zach's outside the bathroom. We all have mics on.
Oh,
Is
ridiculous.
that what Karrigan came into in-game lead? He's just like, all right, guys, everybody now. And he's like,
Everybody smoke.
You know I got to grill you before you guys get out of here. Give me, with all respect to your current teammates, give me 3 names. Just, you know, they can be on a team, they can be free agents. Who would you like to play with in the future? We're talking Counter-Strike, not Overwatch. Josh.
All right. I guess I'll start. Well, I'm glad that I'm with this guy. I think he's like one of the best teammates I've had. And I just like, the people that I like working with are the people that just have a good attitude, good mentality. So he reminds me a lot of Tarek. So like Tarek for me would be someone that I would love to play with again. Third teammate, man. It could be someone that I haven't played with, right?
It can be old, new, whoever you want, man.
Maybe come back to me on that one.
All right.
Think of a third.
We'll give you a
Tarek is
second.
easy because I've always had that like thought.
Yeah, that one in your pocket.
Yeah.
You know, I like the idea of Tarek because he is a very positive person, it seems like. I couldn't see him being too negative in like a team like outfit, you know? I remember practicing against C9 before they won the major.
Mm-hmm.
this guy was like insane. Like he was like so sharp. Like it was really tough to outplay Tarek or even outshoot Tarek. So like just knowing the skill ceiling that this guy can have, like can you like imagine that? You know what I mean? So I think that's a great one. Karrigan, of course. Again, like I think he's unlike any other player that I've ever played with. And I would say JKS from Renegades. I really enjoyed playing with JKS. I think he has like a insane skill ceiling, and like he has the ability to compete on like a world class team. So it's like, Justin, let's go. You know what I mean?
Josh, back to you, man. Feel free to throw my name.
Karrigan was a good one. But I would say like it'd be fun, interesting to like play with like a Nico, or like, you know, I already play with Simple. I think he's grown a lot over the last 2 years since I played with him just for like a month, as a player and as a person. So like seeing just like having that level tier like player, like in practice, like it's fun to watch. It's fun to play because you're just like constantly, it's a highlight reel like all the time, you know. You're like, Jesus, like what is going on there? Like I can't even get my own highlight reel because he's doing it every single time. But like that's something that's like be fun to play with again.
Right on. Anything else before we wrap up, guys? Any questions for these gentlemen? Any questions?
You're a thinker, Justin. I know you got something over there.
Man, how important is? I mean, we talked about physical health, obviously, and mental health a little bit. Well, vice versa. We talked about physical a little bit. In regards to, we talked about fashion briefly and style. Like, how important is that to you guys to look good on game day?
Man, it's the most important.
The highest.
I mean, like you're gonna be in front of cameras and stuff. It's for me, it's like, I don't know. Like I try to represent like what I know I can live up to. Like so, like, I want to reflect how I can play in the game. For example, you know, like I like everything high end and just upscale. So like I want to be able to reflect that in the game all the time. You know what I mean? That's just who I am. You know, like I know what kind of player I can be and what I'm capable of. So again, like mix and match.
How much do you think just esports in general, the entire scene, would benefit from having stylists on staff? Because I think that's like a piece that's really missing. You have like these wicked talented players. And
I don't think that's missing right here at all.
No, I'm about to say they have no style. No style.
Other teams.
You got a bunch of these players and they have no style.
Trying to help out other teams. We got the style. We got the flair. I'm talking about other teams. Like having a stylist on staff. Some of these guys, they should show up. They got the same bowl cut. In interviews, they're boring. I want to see the Gucci flip flops.
Well, I bet a lot of people would argue that's one thing that's great about esports, though. You know, is it like it doesn't matter too much about your physical attraction. You know, I think it is good that the players have the option to, you know, be how they want to be. You know what I mean? But the way I see it is like if you're going to be on camera, you know, and maybe you want to develop a persona or you want to have fans and you want to like look good for the team that you're playing on, whatever it is, right? You know, then that's your thing. You know, that's your option, your choice to do that. So I mean, I would encourage everyone to do that, you know, because plus I think it just helps you feel better, you know. So like let's say you were somebody with, you know, confidence issues, you know, if you looked better, felt better, you know,
look good, feel good, play good.
Exactly, you play better.
That's always been my model.
I think it just comes down to the person. Like whatever's going to make you feel comfortable and confident, that's what you need to go with. Because that's what matters when showing up game day. You know, I mean, we always look good, so you know, like it doesn't matter. But you know, we need to show up good in the game too.
Yeah,
absolutely. Can't thank you guys enough for coming on the show, spitting some Counter-Strike wisdom to us.
Yeah,
hopefully you guys can come on again. Where can they find you if they want to talk to you?
At MB_Nifty on Twitter and at New York Nifty, NY Nifty on Instagram. Follow me.
At JD Marzano for everything.
Everything.
Instagram too, where you got the boat pictures and
yeah, clubbing and everything, like
clubbing. Got the shirt open. He always has the shirt open. Like, there's like 3 more buttons on that shirt, man. Get it up.
Yeah. 3 more hours, I have that off.
So before we get out of here, we have some esports church announcements. First up, CWL Fort Worth. That's coming to you March 15th through 17th at the Fort Worth Convention Center. We'll put information and spectator passes in the description below. We also have Ultimate Weekend Dallas coming up. That's going to be at the Allen Event Center April 27th through 29th. That's with the Overwatch League. We'll feature 8 teams from around the league coming right to the backyard of Dallas. So definitely check that out. If you enjoyed this podcast, please leave us a review. Get done listening, leave a review. That helps us, that helps you. We want to give you the best quality content possible. New stuff coming to you every Monday with a video component coming every Wednesday. Until next time, this has been Q Up.